What's going on, everyone? Hello, and welcome to another episode of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. This is episode 32. In case you don't know how numbers work. Thank you. Recorded on June 1st, 2025, to get posted to podcast services on June 3rd, 2025, to the usual spots: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Patreon, Podbean, and then on YouTube. No Patreon.
Did you start a Patreon without me?
Not yet.
That seems ironic,
I read
honestly.
If you are listening to us on an audio-only version, please feel free to come on over to YouTube. Just come on over. Come on over. We got a chair waiting for you. We got an iced tea for you. I don't know where my brain went to like Southern iced tea, but it did. I don't know.
Wow.
I know. Check it out on YouTube as well. You can enjoy the full episode there, or we cut out segments that you can probably laugh to because we're immature idiots just doing a podcast.
How about the thumbnail for this week that it randomly generated with me just flexing?
Yeah, you flexing on Chris and me. Yeah, you definitely are.
I have no idea what the reference for that was, and I didn't know that it happened. And Chris is like, "What the hell is this?"
Dude, YouTube knows.
It's perfect. I left it there.
We try to snip out some interesting segments. Also, however you choose to enjoy so, thank you very much for doing so.
Yep. Started posting some shorts for the first time, so we'll see how that works.
We will see how that works.
60 seconds of glory.
We're still doing this. We did a previous venture, never really did the YouTube thing outside of silly little things. We're trying to really utilize the technology of where it's gone. So
every week, baby,
indeed.
Yeah,
Roger, we got a show today.
We do.
We're gonna yammer on for a few minutes. Then we're gonna talk about some box office and why that's of note. Because last week we did not get to the box office because we recorded
not the
early.
Official box office.
We didn't.
Anyway.
We have a trailer to talk about today. So Roger and I know, or at least are very excited, timidly, for the Happy Gilmore trailer to talk about. We'll get to that in a little bit. I have a movie recommendation for you. Then we're going to do a quick segment on our take on the live-action remakes. Spoiler, it's not good. And then talk about Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo.
For whatever that's worth.
Lilo.
Yes. Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitchar.
I'm one of your hosts, Grayson Maxwell. Joining me as he does every week is my lovely co-host, Roger Stillion.
Yes.
The man with the best beard in the business.
In this room, at least.
That's for sure, because I can't grow one. I look weird. We've established this. I look very odd with facial hair. I just can't do it.
So I was watching our local newscast
Thank you.
recently.
Yeah.
And they were interviewing a high school kid about something, and he had like the worst mustache in the world. And I thought to myself, I was probably trying to pull that shit off when I was like 16.
We all were, man. Yeah. Because I'm still, and I don't know why, I'm still obsessed with the Brad Pitt 90s goatee from Seven. I'm obsessed with it. I can't get it out of my head. My dad has a magnificent goatee. He can grow a great one. I cannot, however.
You should get your old man to do the Tony Stark, like up the chin.
If he doesn't shave for several days, he gets it, man.
That's the thing too. Is it's been a really long time, obviously, since I've been clean shaven. But like I was the guy, like I'd shave in the morning. By the afternoon, it's starting to come back in. So I just stopped doing that. So mostly out of laziness.
I've only had to shave for like the past mind you, I just turned 40. Shaving every few days, it's only been a thing for me for like 4 years now. It's not. I mean, before that, it was never.
It's good. Welcome to puberty, buddy.
It was nice. It was a bit of a delayed reaction, but I finally got there. I don't know what's going on with my hair today, Roger. What is going on with my hair? Like, I don't know.
It's very reflective.
I'm doing like the Reptar, the Reptar thing he got going down from. There's a 90s reference some of you kids may not know, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Reptar from Remakes.
No, I know.
Okay.
We're going to talk about his hairstyle.
Can you get my water, please, sir? Thank
you.
No,
not now.
Oh my goodness.
We've started the show. Water time has passed.
I'm parched. I'm thirsty. It's like a sandpaper in there, man. What's going on, Roger? How has your week been? As you stopped immediately getting me water.
Get you a bottle of water.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know, man. So I went to a graduation party yesterday, a high school graduation, which is something normally I don't interact with like kids of that age at that point. It's not really what I do. I'm an adult, and I realized I have nothing in common with the youth of our country. So there's that.
But that was a familial.
Yeah, it was. Okay. I didn't randomly attend someone else's.
Well, you said it like it was not okay. Well, how's this person related to
you? I just showed up to somebody else's house party. Like that would be funny though.
There's a rated R comedy that's waiting to be made.
Well, so yeah. I was at I was staying at a location at a hotel because I stayed overnight after the hotel or after the graduation party. Met up with some friends, went to dinner, had some drinks, went out of town, had a good time. But like we were staying at a place that is like hosts a wedding venue that had a wedding there yesterday. So like I could have crashed a wedding last night. That would have been hilarious. I did not.
You should have. You should have. Man, you
I
should
think
just
here's the
tried
thing, we
it.
didn't get back to like 1 a.m. though. So like
I
they
mean,
were
you should
already
have just tried it just to see if you could have though. Walked right in, went to the bar. It sees anyone said anything to you because
So,
all
like-
you could, then you could just walk out if they do. You know, you lose nothing.
I was dressed in my formal wear, I had on some some black khaki shorts, and I have my sweet, I have a sweet Whitney Houston t-shirt, like for real. Yeah, it's great, awesome.
Did you wear this to the graduation
Yeah,
party?
fuck yeah, I did.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You knew the conversation.
Yeah,
Good for you.
So like,
Good for
look,
you.
I don't care about things like that. It's a good shirt. That's just understand it's a good shirt.
I expect no less than now shenanigans from you,
Yeah.
to be honest. So what'd your wife think about that shirt?
She laughed because it's funny.
But like she wouldn't laugh and be like, "Huh, take it off."
You know what's funny is she
No?
actually told
Okay.
me a while ago I wasn't allowed to wear that shirt when we were meeting up with our friends to go to dinner, so I wore it to a family function instead. So
I mean, compromise has to happen in a marriage, and that's compromise. Good for you guys.
so
Good for you.
definitely rocking my Whitney Houston shirt. Maybe I'll post a picture of that later because it's a quality shirt. Got
Or
it from
just wear it
Walmart.
1 week. Why not just wear it?
No,
1
because
week?
it's green, and so like I've
Ah.
done the green shirt thing here
It's
recently.
the one color you can't wear. That's a shame.
It does too, because like I have some nice, I have a sweet Green Ranger, like Power Ranger shirt. It has like the dragon coin right in the
Of
middle.
course you do.
I
Like,
can't
why
wear
do you,
that
of course
either.
you have that. Like,
Yeah, hell yeah, I do.
Why do you have? What? That's not like a hell yeah. Like every adult guy's got one.
First
of those.
off,
Like,
there's enough people that I know that listen to this just went, fuck
hell
yeah.
yeah,
Hell yeah. That's it.
yeah. I remember. You remember those toys from McDonald's, like the coins you got and like the plastic thing you put them in. Like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness, you may have been a little old. I think I was probably the right age for that. Power Rangers. I was 10 in '95. You must have been what old, like 13ish.
13.
You might have been a little old for that, but you remember the craze. I'm
Mhm.
sure you. Yeah, it's just good lord.
I have a text thread with a guy I used to work with that we just send each other videos and just say HYB at the bottom for hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah,
And it's
brother.
always, every one of them are like, hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
They're
Hell yeah.
always like, videos of cars exploding or a guy like shotgunning beers. Yeah, it's a real dude thing.
I mean, that's good. It's good dude stuff.
HYB, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, I watched some more because we talked last week about like watching YouTube videos like people in pain, and like I watch more of them. Like I get a chuckle out of that stuff. I realize it's kind of sadistic, but I think it's funny.
It usually is funny. Like I end up, for whatever reason, my algorithm always tunes me to like wrestling fails for people like get hurt wrestling, and sometimes it's hilariously funny, or sometimes it's like, ooh, that guy shattered his pelvis bad. Like there's no real middle ground.
Like the ones that with the guy, I watched it again just this morning. Guy jumps off of his roof, trying to land in the pool, doesn't, and just like 90-degree angle, like he's sitting down, like on the ground. Like his back is fucked for life.
Yeah,
it's done. Like you can't fix it.
Shouldn't have been standing there. It's by far the definition.
Someone moved the pool. Yeah,
don't do that.
This week, so yesterday I went to a really cool. My buddy actually had a documentary premiere in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah,
that I attended. He's doing a documentary for. It's called the School of Second Chances. There's a teacher in Pennsylvania who just bought a school building and is putting it up for people who need education, families who can get educated together. It's a great thing, and the documentary was great. It was
That's
a great
cool
turnout.
idea, man.
Yeah, it's a really
real.
good. I felt good that someone in the world was doing good things. Like
somebody that is not a bad person.
Yeah, because
now he's got to balance that out.
If you go on like X or YouTube Shorts, like
don't do that.
It's all bad. It's all bad. Like there's not one good thing except for those dodo like animals like was rescued. Like you're like, oh, that's great. And then more bad.
I mean, I watch a lot of cat videos.
Cat videos are great.
Yeah,
man.
that's good.
I don't understand why they hate cucumbers so much. I haven't figured that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they always jump, and it's always hilarious.
Yeah.
Or when cats like they do the thing where they hit someone super quick and the person keeps adding the sound effect. Like, that's always funny too. It just is.
Yep.
Well, Roger, I watched some stuff this week too. I want to tell you, I have a calendar on my phone and I mark. I've watched one movie a day. It's been 7 years to the day. One movie a day for 7 years.
Seems exhausting.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it'll be the same. Like definitely repeat movies in there, but one movie a day for 7 years. This is the start of year 8.
Hey,
so
Death Race was on again today.
I mean, I'm not above watching Death Race.
Quality fucking flick.
I'm not above it at all.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. HLB.
HY.
HYB. Yeah.
It's not how we.
Let's
spell
do
things.
a show. Let's do a show, Roger. What do you say?
I mean, sure.
at 9 minutes
That's
in.
the
Let's
play.
do
Yeah,
it.
10 minutes. You drag it out like one more sentence, and it goes to 10 minutes
No,
exact. Look at
okay,
that.
let's do
Boom,
a
right
show
on the
right now.
fucking
Let's
money.
do a show. We didn't do box office last week, but
Dear
we're gonna
folks,
do it
I have
this
a counter,
week.
so I know exactly it was 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, it's right there. I
They
can
can't see
it.
that. They don't know.
Well, I can see it. I know. All right. Number one, as no surprise to anyone, Lilo and Stitch, 63 million, brings this total to 610.
It's a good number.
That's a good number. I don't think the movie deserves it, but that's not for me to say.
Hey, Mike, listen, spend your money however you want, but
Look,
well,
yeah,
we're going to
sure.
talk about that movie later, and yeah, sure.
Mission
whatever.
Impossible: The Final Reckoning, number 2, 27.3 million domestic for 353.
Fine film.
I'm happy that's getting some more money in there. Karate Kid Legends, 21 million for a worldwide of 47.
So you caught that movie this week, didn't
Another
you?
one I caught this week.
Okay.
And I
You
was
gonna talk about it for a
pleasantly
couple minutes?
surprised. I'm going to talk about
Okay.
it a little later.
Cool.
However, I was not a fan. I've never really been a fan of Karate Kid. If the first one wasn't so like iconic of the 80s, I probably would never have watched another one again. It's excuse me, just not my thing, but I really adored this movie. I'm a big fan of the original cast coming back. Of course, not Miyagi; he has passed. But Jackie Chan,
hell of a get.
yeah, Ralph Macchio's character.
Fucking shows up.
It's a nice little movie. It reminded me of Never Back Down. You remember? Was that the movie with
Yeah, which is funny because Never Back Down is just a not rip off of Karate Kid.
Yeah,
so
yeah. But I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I kind of adored the movie. I did not expect to. But
that's good.
let's
Glad you liked it.
Yeah, me too. Oh my goodness, I've lost.
You've lost the.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
The box office.
Number 4. That's how numbers work. Number 4. Final Destination Bloodlines, 10.8 million.
Another okay movie, by the way.
Yeah, for 229 worldwide. Like, that movie's doing great for itself. I'm really happy about that. Bring Her Back, 7.1 million for a worldwide of 8.8 million.
This is a movie that Chris was interested in, and Chris is on vacation this week. I don't think we mentioned that. He's just not here. I think he said he's going to try to catch it, so he might have something to say about that.
I'm gonna try to catch it next week. I hope he does, because
cool.
It's getting good reviews. So 6 through 10. Sinners finally got kicked out of the top 10.
Right.
So did Thunderbolts. That was 6 and 7. Number 8 is Friendship. Number 9, The Last Rodeo. That's with who's Bull from Band of Brothers? What's his name? Not Bull, but I forget his. It's you'll know when you see him. Last Rodeo. It's this guy. It's can't think of his name, but he's one of the guys in Band of Brothers. He's the sergeant who doesn't want to go back to war. It's a movie that people are talking about, oddly enough, but it's not in wide distribution.
Okay.
Number 10 is J-Hope tour Hope on Stage in Japan, live viewing. That was number 10.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it got $4 million worldwide, so
cool.
Good for it.
All right.
That's it. Okay.
Good.
There's the box office. I don't think there are any major surprises in that one.
No, not really. I expected Lilo and Stitch to still be number 1. And honestly, it has, even though there's a big movie coming out this next week in Ballerina, it is going to be rated R. I still think.
I mean, it's going to crush. It's going to do great numbers.
Well, but Lilo and Stitch has potential to still be number 1 next week.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I just don't see it happening. But
I mean, just numbers wise, then you'd have to be looking at Ballerina making more than 50 million to beat it out.
Well,
so
Lilo's, it's going to have a sharp drop off. This is out the second week. Families are done with it. It's going to have a 25-ish million week next week, 30 maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see indeed. Well, this week it's a momentous occasion for Roger and myself on Post Credits Podcast, as we get to talk about a trailer from a movie we never thought would get a sequel.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know what you were talking about for a second.
I'm really excited, Roger. Let's talk about Happy Gilmore 2. And I mean, if you were around that age in the 90s, this was as memeable and as quotable movie before like the internet really existed. It was. Adam Sandler is just one of his greats in Happy Gilmore. So I'm gonna give you the start off on this one because you're a bigger fan than I am. But
so between Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison and all the other like Big Daddy and all the other Adam Sandler movies, like this stuff was ingrained in my brain for years and years of like peak comedy. And obviously they don't really hold up quite so well these days. It's still funny to a point, which is why I have some trepidation about Happy Gilmore 2, because like seeing the trailer is exactly what you think is going to be. It's over the top. It's people falling down, falling off things, getting hit in the nuts with golf balls. Exactly what.
It's very
Yeah, it's
slapstick.
very
It's
slapstick.
he's still wearing
Normal.
the same outfit. Yeah,
Yeah, just sweet fucking Bruins jersey.
it's talking to the original, which I love when movies do that.
Yeah,
So.
it's fine. I just
However, you said why be trepidatious about it? Because Netflix did it.
well,
And
yeah.
I don't mean that as a slight against Netflix, but they don't have a great track record.
No, they sure don't. And they're picking up a sequel to something that was an established property that probably doesn't really need a sequel. No one 30 years later is like, I wonder what's going on in the Happy Gilmore universe. Like, I mean, I know I'm not, and I was a big fan of the first Happy Gilmore. Like, look, will I watch it? Absolutely, because we don't really talk about Netflix stuff. So when it does come out, me and Grayson will probably take a few minutes and talk about it, maybe the week of or the second week after it comes out. And just, I have a bunch of other buddies who I know are like, former Adam Sandler fans, which it's nothing against.
Former.
Well, it's his stuff is just so like,
Wildly
so much,
different. Yeah.
well, and not good,
That's also true.
like most of the Adam Sandler stuff since he's had his Netflix deal isn't very good, with some notable exceptions. Like, I mean, Uncut Gems is a masterpiece of a movie. So
Hustle.
yeah, Hustle. Like, give him credit where credit's due. Like, those are good movies, but a lot of them aren't.
Yeah,
So
I don't blame you. It's not a.
that's
It's
the
an
thing.
easy assumption to think this is going to suck. It would be. It's funny because like years ago, it would have been the oddball assumption to say it's going to suck, but now it's like that's the long odds to say it'll be good.
Well, the problem that you run into now with a lot of movies is stupid like there's no middle ground. Either stupid comedy works and it's an A+ home run hit, or it falls completely flat on its face. Like, there is no middle ground. Like, I don't foresee anybody watching Happy Gilmore 2 and be like, it was okay. It's gonna be like, oh, it's hilarious, funniest shit I've ever seen. Or, dude, why the fuck they make that movie?
Well, if it matters at all, I think it's important to like bring up Joe Dirt here because again,
Sure, because they made a second one of
well,
those. It's
Netflix
really,
made a
really
second
bad.
one and it was awful. It's off. Was it Netflix?
I don't think so.
Was it Mac or Prime?
Somebody else.
Prime? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, there was a
It's
sequel to
the
that,
same point though. Like,
but it's awful. It's awful. It just doesn't. Whoever that, it's just. I don't know. I don't understand why there's even a sequel to this, but I mean him and what's her. So I'd look her up. It's Virginia Venice. It's always
Yeah.
VV. So
VV, yeah.
I am excited to see where it goes because I am an immature idiot that loves to laugh at the first movie. But again, that comedy is like you definitely cannot make that comedy anymore.
I do like though the fact that obviously 30 years later with a bigger budget and all that, like, it's a bunch of cameos, gonna be a bunch of cameos in this movie, and it's actually like the actual PGA Tour, not just like the golf championship, which I think is kind of cool. Bring some more weight to the thing.
Shooter McGavin's making a
Shooter
return.
McGavin's back.
Christopher McDonald.
Love Shooter.
He's still eating pieces of shit for breakfast.
Yep, which is a right in the trailer, which is good.
I laugh because I'm so immature. I love it.
Because I mean, it was funny.
It is, and we see his daughters are in it, which
Both
is
of them.
probably a beaming sense of pride for him, honestly, because like one of his great, I consider Happy Gilmore to be one of Sandler's like hallmark pieces. I do. It's just there must be some kind of great thing for him to have his daughters in what he considers what many consider to be one of his best
What
rated
put
R
him
comedies.
into like superstar.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean,
I
like,
agree.
Billy Madison's pretty good, and I actually prefer Billy Madison over Happy Gilmore, only like a slight edge. But like, Happy Gilmore is the thing that took him like mainstream.
Of course it is.
From just being on SNL and having a movie or two to like, this dude's like legit.
Well, I see. So Dennis Dugan is Doug Thompson.
Yep.
Nick Swartzen because he's like
Because he's his boy.
Yeah, he's
they're
his boy.
buddies.
Eminem's gonna be in it. Benny Safdie, I see.
Good.
Bad Bunny. Ben
Bad
Stiller.
Bunny's his caddy.
I had forgotten that Ben Stiller. He was the guy in like the nursing home.
Yeah.
Like
You're in my world now,
that.
Grandma.
Yeah. He's got the same mustache, like the Hulk Hogan mustache.
You should grow a mustache like that.
I can't even grow a normal mustache.
That's why I think you should try to very advanced.
I'll just I'll let it grow and I'll just keep trimming around it.
No, just don't trim it all.
But it'll look awful.
Yeah.
I think that's what you want. Okay, fair enough. Margaret Qualley she's been a new addition.
Yep.
But we still got, of course, Julie Bowen and Adam Sandler, and we got a lot of the other people coming back. Like I'm trepidly excited for it. I just am worried that Netflix is going to destroy yet something else I love, and it's a shame that
Going to ruin a franchise I've adored, except that it wasn't really a franchise to start with.
it was just one
It
movie.
was just
but,
a movie.
yeah, but it's a movie that you and your buddies at that time watched a dozen or more times.
Oh, listen, this isn't even a joke. I have probably watched Happy Gilmore from start to finish like 50 plus times in my life. Like,
for me, it's at least that.
yeah,
if not
it's
more.
not like it's not even like that was easy. It was like, hey, you want to watch a movie? Yeah, put on Happy Gilmore. Like it was just something you did.
Yeah, it's background
When was the
noise.
last time you watched Happy? It's been a long time for me.
For me, it's been like probably a couple months.
No, a couple months. It's been years for me.
Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison are on my constant rotation of comedies.
Yeah.
So when I get into that mode at work, when I'm listening to comedies, it's Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. It's Black Sheep, Tommy Boy, Beverly Hills Ninja.
I never liked Beverly Hills Ninja, to be
There's
honest.
there's like a couple more, but some of those just like I was the right age at the right time, and they just struck home. And me and my friends, we just laughed them over and over again because again, we were all immature idiots.
Yeah,
We still
Billy
are.
Madison, Happy Gilmore, Joe Dirt,
Yeah. Oh, Joe
Tommy
Dirt's a great
Boy.
one.
Yeah, all those.
I
And
miss
even the
Chris
first
Farley.
Grown Ups movie. I think the first Grown Ups movie is very funny.
The
first one.
It has its moments. Oh, somebody just watched Dirty Work.
Dirty Work. Norm Macdonald. So, that's the other thing with
I just watched that again.
my algorithm constantly gives me Norm Macdonald stuff. Which
He's brilliant. He
thank
really is.
God, what a
Yeah.
legend that man was.
He's great, and it's all those cutaway shots of him just being thrown into a dumpster. Like it
Yeah.
makes me laugh every single time.
I owe you one punch in the stomach. I still say that line to people all the time.
Say it again.
One punch to the stomach.
All right, I gotta stop laughing at that. But
no, it's
and then
perfect.
Chris Farley and the woman who bit his nose off.
Saigon whore that bit my nose off.
Then he ends up marrying her in the end, or at least in the car.
And then
Where
she
like,
bites his nose. Bites his nose again. Ah, Jesus Christ! Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
laughing
good
because I'm
shit.
an immature idiot that just loves that
Yeah.
kind of comedy.
Also, Dirty Work, fucking quality.
Well,
Quality. I'm glad you brought that
yeah,
up because that
Dirty
shit
Work's
is
great.
Or when he goes to moon the movie line, and then he just stops.
He just parks and gets out.
Gets out of the car. He's like, "Oh, excuse me."
That would be so funny, man. You just
that's
can't,
funny
but
shit.
again, you just can't make that stuff anymore, and it's a shame. It really is. That stuff was just funny.
Yep.
Golden age for comedies that was.
Quality.
So I mean, I guess Happy Gilmore, I am excited, but only just so. It's not like I'm looking for the next great installment of the Happy Gilmore franchise. I just hope.
What's your favorite
doesn't
Adam
suck.
Sandler movie?
Oh man, you're asking that man.
This is on a spot. If you just had to pick one, what would it be? And it can be serious stuff too.
My favorite Adam Sandler movie. I can't. I would hate. It would kill me to pick one over Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison. Like you'd have to pick both of them.
Okay, like a combo deal.
Yeah, like it has to be the combo deal, right?
Okay,
It has to
I mean
be.
that's sure that's
Because
fine.
then like there's what's the one right after Big Daddy, Mr. Deeds? A lot of people love Mr. Deeds. I'm not as big on
Deeds
Mr.
isn't very good,
but I love Big Daddy. It's funny.
I wasn't. What's the one he did with Andy Samberg? The R-rated one. Who's Your Daddy or whatever?
That's My Boy.
That's My Boy. Yeah,
that movie
was
is
not good.
horrendously bad, but
fucking
it's
awful.
It's
movie.
also very funny though, in like
Yeah.
a slapstick way.
in a stupid way.
It's like every time the chicken nugget out of the pocket gets me every time.
Yeah.
They put a chicken nugget in Andy Samberg's pocket, and then like 10 minutes later, Samberg, when he's drunk, is like, "I'm hungry," and he's like, "Check your pocket." And he's like, "There's a nugget." Just every time.
Yeah, it's funny.
It makes me laugh. But
yeah, that movie's pretty bad though.
it's a man that like it just. Adam Sandler to me is a legend, but then again, I may have been just at that right time where he was going to be a legend. Because like someone from our parents' generation might look at him and be like, "Why did you guys ever think he was funny?"
I remember being in like 8th grade on the school bus, and somebody had like the Adam Sandler like CD playing on like a little
I've
speaker,
listened to that
like
too.
Toll Booth Willie and shit. Dude,
Yeah.
wow,
Where
legendary.
he like voices mom and like,
Yep.
"Why are you playing with your dinghy?" Stuff like that stuff. Yeah, of
They're all
course.
gonna laugh at you. Yeah, like
I listen to that on
hundreds of
repeat.
hours
Yeah,
listening to that, like
100%.
giggling like a schoolboy.
Such a good time.
I would probably still like the one where the college admission thing. He's like, "I bet you have really hairy balls."
balls.
It's just wild.
That was a
Wild
time when like
stuff.
it took a long time to get into the mainstream with films, and it's like
Mhm.
nowadays it's just like if they're kind of
If
funny,
you're
they're in a
remotely
film. Yeah.
famous
Yeah,
or
you're
funny,
you're in a movie somewhere.
give them a movie. Put them in a movie.
Yeah, it's weird, but I'm very happy it's coming out. I'm probably not going to be as happy when I see it because it probably won't live up to expectations. But
No. There's
Anyway,
no way, right?
let's move on.
All right.
This week on episode 32 of Post Credits Podcast, it is my turn for a movie recommendation. And I am recommending Lilo and Stitch from 2002.
Lilo.
Hear me out, though. I think it is the superior version of this movie. I think that movie, here's the thing about that. That's one of the movies that I've seen the least. It
Okay.
came out at a time, I was 17. I was kind of like, I just started working heavily. I was making paychecks and it was nice. And like, I just didn't have time
Making
for that.
paper, son.
Yeah, the $5.15
It probably
an hour.
wasn't even $5.15.
Yeah, for all you people,
Probably like $4.60.
yeah, for all you kids out there, that was like, I can't work for less than $20 an hour.
Yeah.
It was worse for a long time. Yeah, that's a movie that I remember. I've seen it a few times in my life. The first time was in the theater, obviously, but it's been because like that one and Treasure Planet. I remember were 2002 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay, I remember.
I remember liking them, but I was afraid. It was in that like I'm too cool for school, afraid to admit it type of phase in my life. So
what was the other one came out? Like Titan AE.
Titan AE. There's might have been another one.
Because Titan AE had like a whipping, like rip ass soundtrack.
It did.
Right?
It did.
Yeah.
Treasure Planet, Titan. There's no Atlantis. It was that 98.
Atlantis isn't quite that old. There's something else come around that time too.
Yeah, there was a bunch of animated stuff around that time too. Shark Tale was 2005ish. That was way after. But yeah, I like Lilo and Stitch. It's much shorter. The animated is one much shorter, and there's less characters. But it's also, I think,
it's stronger.
I think you'd wouldn't have a hard time with the argument of fitting it into the 90s lexicon of Disney animated, how good of a quality that stuff was. I think you'd really have a hard time arguing it out of that lexicon.
Well, the thing with that movie is a lot of like the classic Disney stuff that we remember was like a redone fairy tale of some sort, like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin.
Well, this was just the Hawaiian princess. I mean, that's
sure, but it was like, but also had an alien in it. So
a lovable alien.
Yeah, it's not just the Hawaiian princess. It's like, look, we have a real Hawaiian princess now in Moana, but it's like having like the story of family involving a space alien creature that's on the run
that becomes family.
Yeah, it's a novel idea and very much peak Disney at that point, and it's good for them because like that story was fresh, it was, and like I remember the color palette, like the color scale that they used for that was something like Disney had never really done before.
It was kind of like
slightly
blandish.
slightly different art style as well. The human characters drawn a little bit differently than what we'd ever seen before. It's different, and it's a good movie.
It's much stronger. It's like an hour and 19 minutes. It's a much stronger.
Oh yeah, it's sweet, solid, like 79, man. Baby.
Especially for parents at the time, they were in and out in less than 2 hours. It must have been very nice for them. Yeah. Davine Chase was Lilo. Chris Sanders, who was a co-writer on that film, and he voiced Stitch.
Yep.
But this one,
Same
I
guy
think he directed this new one, and Stitch.
He still does the voice too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris Sanders was actually one of the directors of that one too, and writers Dean DeBlois from Dragon, How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh,
that's what he went on to do.
I didn't know that.
But again, quality. I expect that from him because that's quality.
Get a good team. It's amazing what you can accomplish.
Tia Carrere, which I think is she voiced Nani, but I think she voices the.
In the new one, she's the social worker.
Yeah, couldn't get a word. Social worker. David Ogden Stirs was Jumba. Kevin McDonald was Pleaky. Ving Rhames, Cobra Bubbles, which is someone Courtney B. Vance in this new one. But I go off the list. But I think the movie, I remember it fondly. It's one of the ones I've not watched as nearly as many times as the other ones. But I had a good time with the original Lilo and Stitch, which is why I expected more from this week's topic. We'll get into in a little bit. The live action remake of it. I expected more. I just did, and I'm not sure I got it. A little bit of a spoiler.
But. So one thing about Lilo and Stitch is this movie definitely came after like my time through the Disney. Now, like, look, I look at Disney things different now as like a dad and somebody who reviews movies and stuff. But like this movie came out in 2000. Was it 2002 or 2003?
2002.
2002. So like I was legitimately almost done with college at the time. So like I was going to see things like Matrix Revolution,
of course,
you
were in
because like it holds a whole different time frame for me. So like I didn't really have any sort of affinity for this movie like a bunch of people do. Now I will say this is my sister's favorite Disney character. Like legitimately has at her age still wears a Stitch hoodie all the time, things like that. Bought her the Lego thing for Christmas, that kind of thing. But I'll tell you what she feels about the new movie in a few minutes. So
Well, I think it's important that we include that testimony because that's the one that matters.
yeah, it
So.
does because like she considers herself a diehard Stitch fan and like she loves that movie and when we get to the other one, it's roundabout ways like Lilo and Stitch really wasn't my thing, so I'm not. No, obviously I've seen the movie a few times at this point. I watched it fairly recently before viewing the new one. It is what it is. it's fine.
Well,
Do we have a
we'll get to
Metacritic
it.
for the old one?
We don't actually. I'll find
Why
it.
don't you pull that up real quick? So I bet you it's high, but not like super high. So I'll wager a guess and say it's like 76.
I'll bet you it's probably somewhere close to that.
Feels like it might be that.
It's 74. If this is
Oh,
the right
damn it!
one.
I was right on the money. I'm so
Yeah.
good at this game.
I want to make sure that's the right. It is Dean DeBlois. It is that one. So
DeBlois.
It is again. It's a tighter movie. It's a much better movie. But it's one of those Disney movies that like I knew they were going to have to make choices. We'll get into them a little bit and like how they were going to present things. We'll get to in a bit. But it's just it didn't come out like I don't want to be that guy who was like, well, they didn't do what I wanted to do. So obviously they're wrong. But we will get to that.
Well, I mean, Lilo and Stitch as an animated film, like hand drawn animation, is a far better medium for this, probably.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Because you don't have to worry about things not looking great on the screen. And this isn't a knock on the new one because I think what we do get looks pretty good, but it's like they definitely. I mean, there are characters missing in the new one because you can't present them on the screen the way you need to in a live action film, which is something that really matters in the long run. So I'm just rambling at this point, but
well, before we get into the movie, let's we're gonna take a little aside. We're gonna do a little discussion on Disney live action remakes and how we feel about them. And I think we've had enough of them now that you can start to form an opinion about some of them. To me, it's a little mind boggling. So let's get into the discussion on Disney live action remakes.
I don't know what question you're gonna ask. So I don't want to derail you, but can I ask you one question before we start? What do you think is the best live action to this point?
If I had to say, I would probably nominate Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, that's fair, and that's probably what I would do too. What do you think's the worst?
Well, worst or most disappointing? Because most disappointing is probably Lion King.
But it's not the worst.
No, not by far. But
I mean, The Lion King is very disappointing. I'll give you that. Somehow it's longer and sucks more. So like I don't understand. A shot for shot remake.
How would you answer that question?
How would I pick it? The worst. I think the worst is Dumbo, or Pinocchio. Oh, Pinocchio. The Tom Hanks Pinocchio is a fucking abomination.
Pinocchio by far. If that's what they were counting as the official live action remake for Pinocchio, then yes, that is by far. I mean, that's my choice.
It's horrible.
It is. It's abysmal. The Guillermo one that same year was.
So if you really want a good look at Pinocchio, watch the Netflix Guillermo del Toro.
A very dark
Pinocchio.
gothic.
But it's
telling.
I mean, like Oscar. It won the Oscar, didn't it?
It won a couple Oscars.
Yeah, it won multiple Oscars. Excellent adaptation of Pinocchio that is very fucking good. Looks incredible, by the way. So check it out. Awesome. But yeah, that movie's really bad. And Dumbo's really bad. And
I didn't hate Dumbo as much as you guys did. I remember. So that's one of the few movies that you and I were in the same show.
Well, it was me, you, and Chris. Actually, it was all three of us in the same thing. I don't think that's ever happened.
Not again, but that
was the one time.
And in a movie theater that no longer exists, with the company that no longer exists, by the way.
It does not.
Well, no, that was AMC. The company exists, but that movie theater is gone. But it's soon to be another theater, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
When I'm here, I'm going to check it out. I don't plan on being here super often anymore, but yeah. Worst though, it's a good. I mean, Dumbo's got to be up there, but for me, it's Pinocchio, hands down Pinocchio.
It's the worst, right? Yeah, that's very fair.
But the most disappointing, I think, is Lion King because that's got to be one of the strongest entries in the original run, and it's just how to go from that to that is just oh my goodness. I've just come to. I guess what I want to talk about with the live action remakes is I'm not as upset with Lilo and Stitch because I knew what to expect.
Okay,
and is that. Because we have a similar take for Netflix. We just don't expect good things from Netflix anymore. And that's not our fault.
No, it's their fault.
That's Netflix's fault.
Yeah, they've done that.
I think there's a reason for that, and we'll get into that. But I mean, I don't think Disney is that far removed. And by the reason, just hear me out before you all click away. The reason I think is I think that they've figured out for the amount of money they put into it, for the amount of money they want back, they don't have to have as high quality bar as they used to need because you're going to get that staying power. There's far more ways to monetize this thing after the theatrical run than there was, for instance, in 2002.
Yep.
You had the theatrical run, you had the DVD, VHS, whatever, which they're probably still VHS in 2002, right?
Oh yeah,
I imagine.
2002, sure. Not anymore.
And then that was it. Like there was no streaming services. Maybe people rented it on like it was on the HBO
Well, the other thing,
service.
the
or
other thing you
something,
got a
but-
lot back then, and you still do to some degree now, but not as much as toys.
Oh yeah, good
Like
point.
toys and
Of
product
course.
tie-ins with like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, those sort of things, like massive promotional things.
Which they actually did. I remember the McDonald's or one of
Yeah.
them. McDonald's and Burger King had one for Lilo.
Yep.
It's a big deal.
Burger King's doing the How to Train Your Dragon right now. You can get the Dragon Grilled Whopper right now. Did you know that?
I didn't, but I'm on my
I
way
didn't.
home.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna get
until a
one.
couple of days ago when I saw it on the sign at a fucking Burger King. And went, what the hell is a Dragon Grilled Whopper?
Live dragon in the back.
Oh my god!
Toothless
You
in
think
the
that
back.
would be bigger news,
Yeah. We found dragons in the world.
right?
Um,
They've all been enslaved by the Burger King Corporation.
I will say that
Burger King, please don't
because
sue
we're
me.
Burger King, you want to come on the show and talk
If
about
you'd
it,
like to talk about your dragon enslavement camp,
where you found them, please. We're so close now to what I think is going to be one of the holy grails of a live action remake is How to Train Your Dragon that I'm so excited, yet I just hope it's great, man.
okay. So I feel the exact same way as you. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What if it's bad? Now, like, look, I have no reason to believe that it is. Everything that I've seen of it has been overwhelmingly positive. The trailer looks fucking great. There's even a new trailer if you haven't seen it. Did you see the new trailer?
Yeah. I have.
Still looking great. Looks exactly where I need it to
Well,
look.
I'll say the same thing I think you said about the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Before it came out, because Afterlife was such an we just didn't expect it to be
It was a
such
good
an
movie.
okay movie
It was
that
so
going into Frozen Empire, you're like, if this is bad or just okay, I'm going to be upset. So if How to Train Your Dragon is just okay, because the just okay version of this in the Disney world would be Lion King. Lion King's okay.
yeah, it's fine. It's
But
a fine
It
movie.
failed to capture the magic of
Yep.
Lion King with that. What was the budget? $250
$250 million to remake a movie that was already a masterpiece and make it worse.
And somehow with Aladdin, it's like they're okay. They don't live up to their
So
predecessors.
Aladdin we didn't talk about. So I don't mind Aladdin. I think Aladdin.
It's better than Lion King. but
I think as a story that they adapted, I think it's better than Lion King because they make some changes to it, and that's okay. And like Will Smith as a genie, I kind of dug it. Like it worked.
well,
at
he
the
does an
time.
okay job. That's the thing is like he fills those boots well. And I didn't
Yes.
think he was going to be able to, but like,
Yeah. He took that with
Yeah.
some gravitas. You know, trying to fill in for Robin Williams is tough.
and he even did like a publicity tour when the movie was coming out, saying how honored he was to
be
doing
able to do that,
because
yes.
Robin Williams is such a legend, of course.
Yeah.
But the title character in Aladdin, Mina Masood, was just he played second fiddle to who was Jasmine?
I don't remember her name, but she smoked him in that movie.
Oh, she stole every time her songs were better.
Yep.
She stole every scene she was in.
Yep. She was better than him.
She's a better actor than he is, and she was in Power Rangers. What's her name? I can't think of her name. But,
Yeah, it's.
But
her-
again, like the title character in the movie was like second or third fiddle.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that Aladdin in the original film, in the animated movie, was better. However, he was certainly
Naomi Scott.
Yeah. He was certainly had more lines than Jasmine, but given when this movie came out,
She's
I can
better than him.
imagine
She's
why
just
they
better than him in the movie.
I can imagine why they beefed up Jasmine's presence in
Yeah.
Aladdin because it's just, but she is phenomenal and he was okay, and
Yeah,
that's a problem.
He's fine, much like that movie. It's fine.
So
The thing is that you have to look at those movies that we say just fine as wins for them, honestly, because like the bad side of it is really bad. Like Pinocchio is bad, Dumbo is real bad. I'm missing something else. Jungle Book's okay. The Jungle Book remake, which is like that was like the first one they did, right?
that was I forget who who was the
Scarlett Johansson's in that as somebody, and
Are you sure about that?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Pull
we're
up
gonna we're gonna look at them ranked by tomato meter, but who was
Okay, well, yeah,
who was in? So Jungle Book's actually the top is number one. I didn't expect that to happen.
There you go.
Son of a bitch. So okay, let's go from 15 back. I don't want to
Okay.
go all the way. Although Lion King is 16, so I feel
Start there.
Jesus, man, it just gets bad. Well, Dumbo's not the worst. It's 18. There
Who's-
are like there's like 10 beyond that.
Who's last?
Pinocchio.
Okay,
Like,
sure.
yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
I just want to fuck Pinocchio. Like I hate
Whoa,
that movie. That was
whoa.
hey Pinocchio. Like it just didn't.
Yeah, no, I hated that.
Alice. Okay, so just 24 up. Alice. So Pinocchio, Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Not good.
102 Dalmatians.
Not good.
101 Dalmatians.
Not good.
Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, 2019.
I think I moved. Oh, that's the second one, right?
Mhm.
Okay, not good.
And Disney's Snow White somehow is not the worst. That should have been the answer for the worst.
But it's not though, because Pinocchio.
Okay,
Pinocchio is still worse.
Pinocchio
Like,
is
look,
the worst.
Snow White has its own problems. Pinocchio is a worse movie.
I mean, 24 to like 15. Does it really matter where they rank?
no,
'Cause,
they're
like,
still
yeah,
shitty.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So Dumbo's 18, right?
Terrible.
But it's only one better than
Yeah,
Snow White. Alice in Wonderland, Lion King. So here's the top 15. So this is where it starts to matter. Maleficent, 2014.
But Maleficent's okay.
Mufasa, the Lion King, which I only watched once.
I've never seen it.
It's better than Lion King. I will give it, but it's still not what I would have expected.
But that's a story we didn't need either, too.
Of course, you're right. Aladdin's number 13.
Aladdin's
number
fine.
12. Peter Pan and Wendy is also one of the ones that like should have been one of the worst because that was awful.
That's pretty
Remember
bad.
That one?
It's
that
bad.
Was awful.
But so it doesn't take as much heat though because it only came out on Disney Plus.
Correct. And same with Lady and Tramp, which we did not talk about.
We did not.
But that also was like not shadow drop, but it just came out during that 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then Little Mermaid, which I was not big on. People liked it. It made tons of money.
The thing with Little Mermaid is Little Mermaid got a lot of heat because they changed.
Obvious reasons.
They listen. A lot of racial stuff in that, which is something I will never speak about on this show. But a lot of people made their mind up that movie was going to be bad because suddenly we didn't have a white person as the main character.
There is a conversation to be had, but
the thing is, that movie is okay.
It's
fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's above 50%. You know,
I mean, sure. I'll give you that.
It's fine.
And then Lilo and Stitch, the remake slots in number 9, just for reference.
Okay.
Number 8 is Beauty and the Beast. Oh, Christopher Robin. I never think of that one as a live action.
Yeah, Christopher Robin's a good movie.
But it's also a very
Chris
good
Robin's
movie,
a good movie.
Mulan, which I thought was not good. Like I wasn't
a fan.
I wouldn't have put Mulan
wasn't
that
a fan
high at all. Cruella.
I like that movie.
I love Cruella.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really
pretty good.
I mean, take it for what you will for two grown men talking about Cruella, but
I'm surprised they haven't made a second one yet.
They are.
I know it's in production. Or in the works.
Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book, 1954 or 94. That was
That's when we get the grown up like Mowgli, right?
Is that it?
I think so.
Because there was also Mowgli, like 5-7 years ago, but I don't think I've ever seen that one. So interesting. Cinderella's number 3.
That's fine.
Which I think people would agree with that. Pete's Dragon. I always forget about Pete's Dragon. That was also pretty good.
You know, Pete's Dragon is one of the movies. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on this iteration of this show about the old Disney movies that I used to watch all the time as a kid. I had on VHS. I used to watch Sword and Stone, which
You've been very vocal about that.
Which is one of my favorite ones. Like I love that movie. The other one we used to watch a lot of was Pete's Dragon, because Pete's Dragon was a movie that wasn't completely animated. Like there was real people,
that's right?
And it was like Mary Poppins style, and like he had like the lighthouse with his fire and stuff. Like I remember watching that 100 times as a kid. Like love that movie, and the remake is pretty good.
It's not bad. I actually really dig that you watched that. Those were like. I mean, mine were the iconic, the '90s ones that I just like wear out the. My parents had to buy the VHS.
We had all those too, yeah.
Number of times, but like it's funny how you reference Sword and Stone and Pete's Dragon. Like those are two like much older ones.
Far like Sword and Stone is like fucking 53.
53 or something.
Yeah,
like, Fox and the Hound was one of mine. That's
Fox
like,
and the Hound's old as shit too.
Yeah, that's
like,
Kurt Russell though.
We watched the old Robin Hood.
Oh, I love Robin Hood too.
Yeah, like
oh my goodness,
with them like singing the songs. Yeah, like like legendary movies. Legendary
with
movies.
The snake that
Yep.
Yeah, you remember that sound effect that his tail made?
King Richard the Lion. Yeah.
And of course number 1, The Jungle Book. So that's where we sit. Take the list how you will. I disagree with Mulan being so high. Really, kind of, it does not sit well with me. But I did not like Mulan, and I've listened.
Well, the real problem we had with Mulan is it was really long. and
It was.
it's long. Oh, this we're gonna talk about another movie here
I've
in a little
talked to
bit. This is
people that
probably
worked
too
on
long.
it, and if you can do your own research on Google about the problem with some of the people there that were shooting it, like what they could hear and see, and it's like you should. It's like I can't believe that stuff is still going on in the world, but it is. But the fact that they were shooting right next to some of that stuff is like, what in the world? Um, I forget about Christopher Robin. Always
Great
forget about
movie. Great movie.
that's
You should check it
a
out.
very good one.
Christopher Robin will make you fucking cry.
But
100% will
on the
make you
same
cry.
token is like, what is that live acting remaking though? What is that? Or does that just count as a live
I
action
think it
iteration?
just counts as a live action using like an established storyline with Winnie the Pooh, and that's fine.
It is.
Because like, look, there's no way that I'll ever look at Christopher Robin and be like, "It's bad. You shouldn't
No,
like
it's
that
a
movie."
very
No, because
very
it's
good
fucking
movie.
great.
If Ewan McGregor, Haley Atwell,
Yeah.
good movie, man.
Silly old bear.
And of course, Saving Mr. Banks is like that's one of my
That's
favorite
pretty good movie.
movies, man.
Pretty good movie.
God, it's such a well written film too. But
What an asshole that
Yeah.
guy is.
I mean, I guess, but sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Just watch the movie, you understand that reference.
So there you have it. Is live action remakes. I guess on my last, Here's the thing: is I don't get is when you have, and I'll use Lion King as my example because it's I think it's one of the most poignant examples is when you have a movie like the '94 Lion King that is just so magical
It's
in
an A+.
so many ways.
10 out of 10 movie.
And then you have the remake, and it Disney had to have known before they released it because they did test screenings. They would have screened it a million times. Is it did not do anything that the original did not capture any of that
It didn't
magic.
have any heart.
And that's how do
It's
you?
a soulless robot version of a movie.
Because that's what all the great Disney movies have. That
Yes.
and like that's what they thrive on.
Yep.
Is the live action remakes are I think they're ruining for some people the whatever like image you get in your head when someone says Disney. I think that's been trampled on a number of times by now, and it's for a lot of people it's been eroded away.
Well, I think for a lot of folks too, people that are my age, your age, that are as we get a little bit older and we start to have kids and things, and they get introduced to Disney a slightly different way than we do, because they have the streaming service and they can instantly pull up basically whatever movie they want to watch for $12 a month and see them all at whatever.
Things up to like 15.
Yeah, but the point's still the same. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, this thing costs so much more money than it used to. We may never get to see it as often. Right. But like, these are the movies that end up slotting above them. Like, hey, would you like to watch when you type in Lion King? I bet you the 1992 Lion King is not the first thing that pops up.
94, I think.
No, yeah, sure, but I bet you it's the new one, and that's a fucking shame because
it's not the best one.
That movie is better than the other ones. And like, look, it's Disney's thing; they can do whatever they want, but like that,
their money.
It feels wrong to be like, type in Lion King. Do you want to watch this movie? No, I don't.
Give me the better one.
Give me the good one. Yeah. I mean, same with Aladdin. Same with same with the other ones. Yeah, like you are taking properties that are like the foundation that kept your company alive during the early '90s. You know what I mean? Like,
didn't the crash kind of happen just before that? It's like when people were like, Disney movies they're not having the pull anymore.
Nothing's happening. Yeah,
and then those revived it.
The '80s in Disney is not great.
It's not as bad.
It's not good.
Nor the '70s wasn't great either.
No, it's like it was like the revitalization of Disney as we know it, and for whatever reason they've latched onto this nostalgia. Like, we need this, buddy. We don't need this.
No.
The thing is, and I will give them some credit for this. It's really hard to make an original story
these days.
It really truly is. But
ask James Cameron.
Oh yeah,
can't do it anymore.
Well, yeah, you can only steal the Pocahontas story how many times?
Writing, or what's the Kevin Costner Dancing with Wolves?
Yeah,
and Last Samurai.
Yeah, it's what else you want to pull from? There we go. But I understand like there might be a reason to try these, but at this point we're just pumping things. I mean, they have 3 or 4 more
in the can, like ready to go
on the slate, right? Like I know Moana's coming, and something else, right? Live action. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is, but then I know they got something. And so does Marvel, though. Like, Marvel's the other example of like Thunderbolts was shooting in the other big studio across the way from me when I was in Atlanta working on Bad Boys 4. Thunderbolts was almost done when we were starting, so that just shows you how long it's been in the can, how many movies like back they have stuff in the can for. Which, so I mean, I'm sure Disney's no different though. especially now they start to ramp up their production on stuff.
All right, so Moana's next year, next summer.
But we know about that one.
We
yeah.
know about that one. Hercules,
The
Aristocats, and Bambi.
Bambi's gonna be a tough one because Bambi's got to start the way Bambi starts, and that's gonna be a tough one for kids.
The fucking bloodbath.
Bloodbath. It's just 10 minutes of hunters just shooting
Murder!
deer. Bloodbath.
There's some dude in some jacked up pickup truck ramping through the woods, just gunning them down with an AR.
Like a
Spotlight.
Confederate flag on the
Yeah.
back.
Woo!
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. That's another one that I'm sure they will take liberties with and change, retcon it. But
Sure.
Bambi works because Bambi works. It's just not one of those things. But
I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a movie like that, though, either.
No, it's been a while. But that was Disney's staple. Like, that's parents are dead in a gruesome way. And sometimes you saw it. But, like, always the parents are gone.
Yeah.
So that just worked for Disney, I guess. But any final thoughts on the live-action remakes? Because we're about to talk about one.
Yeah, I do have one last thing. And I really just hope when we get How to Train Your Dragon, which is a movie that I hold at the highest of high standards, right? Like, I think that trilogy, and we're going to talk about it plenty when we get to that week. It's only in 2 weeks from now, is I look at those movies as perfection.
They are.
And if this movie doesn't hold up or soils that in any way, I will be very sad. And then I will 100% blame Disney for it. So,
I like the last part of that. It's great.
It's their fucking fault. And if they hadn't started this, they would have never tried. And
I mean, I almost prefer DreamWorks. They said, okay, we're done with How to Train Your Dragon. We're going to move on to something, but we have a very strong script. We feel very strongly about it. I almost prefer that than to this live-action remake because, in my mind, there's no way anything's going to live up to it. There's just no way.
I also still think, too, talking about DreamWorks for a second, because DreamWorks is, like, animation-wise, has been on a hot streak, right? Like, Bad Guys, which is a movie there's a sequel coming to, but Bad Guys is a great movie. Didn't make a bunch of money, but is an excellent movie.
It sure is.
Excellent movie.
Yeah.
Puss in Boots.
It surprised the hell out of us, too.
Puss in Boots, Last Wish.
Oh, that was a Best Picture nominee.
Incredible.
I forgot about that.
Fucking incredible movie. Yeah. Like, good Lord. I love that movie.
Without a doubt, the best animated movie of the year.
It wasn't not even close.
Yeah.
Whoa, buddy, what a movie that was. Yeah. And then they tease Shrek. And we still don't have that.
But it's coming. It's like, but Shrek is like, that's their premiere. That's their property.
It's their alpha. Like, yes.
They need to. I hope they're taking the time to have. I don't.
If Shrek fails, it's got to be the end of it, right?
No, because they have How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, no, I don't mean of DreamWorks. I mean of Shrek.
Oh, then yes, they wouldn't try it again.
Okay.
If Shrek fails, if it failed with a good script, then I think we can chalk it up to it was a generational thing. It just didn't translate. Yeah,
it's time for Shrek to
go away.
Or like I think the one thing that may happen with Shrek, and obviously I have no idea. I haven't seen the movie. It's not out. Couldn't do it. Is I think Shrek will be good, and then it's still it'll either will do the absolute most money ever, or nothing at all.
Yeah, I imagine you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
It's going to crush, or it's going to come out, have a $35 million opening
fall
weekend,
flat and
go away.
Go away in 3 weeks.
Cap out at $80 million and go away. It's just it's one of those two, nothing in between. I agree with you. I mean, for us, it's going to be great, but we're learning. Disney's learning that nostalgia doesn't always pay off like it should.
No,
however,
but there also is like they are going on what they have for bankable properties, because sometimes when they try to do new stuff, people hate it. So.
Yes, and money talks right now. And right now, at least, money talks. Because we still have. I imagine within the next 3 or 4 years, we will know somehow streaming services, because we know now from the last year that they are unsustainable, and the big ones will stay, but the little ones will go.
Almost all of them are not profitable.
No, none of them are profitable.
Well, Prime Video,
but Prime's a different thing.
Here's the thing, though. It is a profitable streaming service.
However, I would put sure. I would put Prime in the same boat. And now this is going to be a little bit of a nerd talk for a second, as Microsoft Xbox. But we've seen what happened with that, so it doesn't always work to that advantage. I mean, if people aren't watching Prime movies, they're not watching Prime movies. However, they are still pumping hundreds of millions of dollars into these
the movie industry. Yes.
But I mean, also that could be a way for Amazon to like a clever way for them to funnel money into like, well, we need to spend this much this quarter. However that works with your accountings, I don't know how that works, but
Yep.
it's a clever way to funnel the money, and if that's what they do, and that's what they're doing.
The one thing Prime has been pretty good on though is they have a lot of like high level, because like they own all the Tom Clancy properties, for all the IPs.
I know you're a big fan of that stuff.
Well, they have done a pretty good job with like the Jack Ryan series with John Krasinski. Your buddy Chris Pratt has the Terminal List, which isn't that kind of property, but is a military style show.
And Michael B. Jordan, it was Without Remorse.
Without Remorse. So that movie's only okay, but like that's all in that interconnected universe. So like they do a good job with that stuff. So that's fine.
We'll find out which ones stay and which ones don't, because I mean we know for a fact that Netflix is not profitable. We know for a fact that Hulu is not profitable, and now because it's part of Disney, again, it's a different story.
Well, Hulu's a whole different world. Like Hulu and Disney Plus now are completely different than what they were 2 years ago. Yes, like you can open up Disney Plus right now and find R-rated stuff on the landing page. Which here's the thing, I don't care about that.
I think it's hilarious though.
But it's just 5 years ago. Jesus Christ, that could have never happened.
Yeah, no,
like
never.
I don't think you had a single thing in their rated R period in their catalog.
Well, I know there's another Alien film coming.
Yep.
We have Alien Earth, the show coming.
Yep.
Which I've heard nothing but awful things about.
Yes.
They're retconning everything. It's like
that sucks because like nerd stuff. See Prey on Hulu.
Prey's coming too, and that was oddly like fantastic.
Prey fucking owns.
Like, yeah,
excellent Predators type movie. Excellent movie.
It's a movie I expected nothing from,
and it was
like badass.
It's like, you know what else was pretty decent was the Hellraiser movie. It was okay.
Yeah, it was.
I expected it to be dog shit, and it wasn't.
It's funny how like all these things that come out, they're not really in the radar because they shouldn't really be, are sometimes great, and they can't handle the important stuff with the same amount of care. It's funny to me how that happens. But yeah, it's like
I get surprised by random stuff, and then I hate the big things. It's
like Apple stuff has been mediocre to me lately. I'm trying to, because the Gorge was a huge letdown for me.
Gorge. So I did watch. I think I told you I watched the Gorge.
You didn't. It was weird, right?
It's
bad.
Here's the thing. It's a fine movie till the just over the halfway point when they go into the Gorge, and then the movie gets bad,
which is like the selling point.
Yeah,
of the movie.
like that's the bad part of the movie. Like, dude, listen, when they form a relationship, just back and forth,
like that's fun. That's great because it's kind of clever how
that's cool. Yeah, like interesting, you know.
And then they go in the Gorge and they find the origin of the thing, and then they're like, oh, it's like stolen from 15 different movies.
And then apparently they have Wi-Fi in the Gorge.
Yeah, it's just I was so disappointed in the Gorge. It's just nothing makes sense. You have two A-level stars that are just wasted in that movie, completely wasted. But we've been talking long enough too. Yeah. Let's move to the movie of the week on this week's episode of Post Credits Podcast, episode 32, Lilo and Stitch. I know for a lot of people out there, this is exciting. It's nostalgia. We get it. I
made a bunch of money.
So last week I watched Lilo and Stitch with friend of the show, actually, Sean O'Connell. He worked on it. He was in Hawaii. I got him into the film industry in Pittsburgh, and he's done very well for himself. So that's another thing that him and I now talk about. But he
should have brought him on the show.
I asked, he never responded. So he's kind of a celebrity right now. So I just kind of let him do his thing. But
so you're saying I should have messaged him?
Sure, whatever. But and I saw it last week with him. He had some family members there. He had a lot of people to see his name, and like they all went crazy. And that's a big deal when you see your name in the credits.
Yeah, that's cool.
Big deal.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's really excited. He's kind of riding on a high. But he told me in private, he's like, I won't say this to anyone else, but I'll say it to you because I know you kind of look at movies much more critically. It's not very good, is it? I'm like, on first viewing, I would say that exact same thing. It's just not very good. However, I've seen it again. I have some notes. I have some thoughts. So bear with me, Roger, as we go down this path for the next 25 minutes.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
What's that?
When you do thumbs up, thumbs down.
Let's do it.
All right.
So 1, 2. Well, let's do, okay. 2, 1. It's like, mine is up, but
oh man,
only just barely. Because of Stitch.
I thought I wasn't allowed to do that anymore.
Oh,
it's either up or down.
Okay, well then it's down.
Okay,
I can't.
Yeah, see,
if there's no in between, then it's this or this, it's
like,
this.
Here's the thing. I would agree with you about the in between because it's okay.
Some of it's okay.
It's okay.
It really is.
So let's go to the particulars here. real quick. This movie has made a boatload of money.
It has done quite well for
So,
itself.
and the budget for this movie isn't astronomical either. It's only $80 million.
I would say probably it's safer to say 100, but even at 100, it's doing great money.
They have it posted at 80. So
let's do. So the Rotten Tomatoes, I imagine. I'm glad Chris isn't here this week because he'd be big mad again. He'd be foaming at the mouth as he was a few weeks ago.
Good.
So the tomato meter is 70, which to me is just too high. But again, I'm not. That's a bad. It's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's either pass
what's
or
its
fail.
Metacritic?
Well, the popcorn meter is 93.
Yeah,
so
I don't care about that number.
You people are a little too generous.
You people. What do you
the
mean?
Metacritic's sitting at a 53, which is
that's
more,
a totally fair number.
I agree.
Fine, I agree with that 100%.
I agree
if it
with
would have come in at dead nuts 50, I'd been like,
okay,
yeah,
fair,
fucking fine,
fine, yeah. So let's go over some particulars on Lilo and Stitch. Let's do. If I gotta get it up again, what did I do with it?
What did you do?
I'll just use.
What are you
this.
doing?
I'll use this. Calm down.
Oh,
Calm
man.
yourself. Maya Kalacha, Sydney Akudong. If I'm butchering these names, I'm sorry. Chris Sanders, Zach Galifianakis, Billy Magnuson, Courtney B. Vance. It's written by Mike Van Ways, Chris. Oh man, I'm not even going to pronounce that. Chris Bright. Director Dean Fleischer Camp. Let's talk about it, Roger. First impressions.
Disappointing.
I would agree 100%.
Honest first impression, too long, too slow.
I didn't think it was too long. I didn't get that impression. A lot of people did. I don't think I got that impression.
Dude, it's like an hour and 44 minutes.
It needs to be about 10 minutes shorter. Because the original one is about an hour and 20. It's perfect.
80 minutes.
It's in and out. With trailers, it's still less than a 2-hour commitment for parents.
Yep.
I understand you take a short one like that. You need to flush out the world a little more. However, they didn't do that.
Sure.
So the explanation for the additional length in this movie still perplexes me because they didn't flush anything out.
No, they don't add any more story. They just more things of like mayhem. And to the point, like I had a problem with that too because like it gets so repetitive. You know what I mean? Like we have 2 separate montages of them trying to help and then just destroying things.
Yeah, it's
like why are we doing that? There's things that you don't need multiple runs of. I mean, maybe I can imagine. It's like my theater wasn't super packed, but like the kids laughed every time Stitch was on screen. Doing like weird fake alien
Stitch
dog
is
stuff.
The pull here. It's 100% Stitch is the pull. However, my thing is, I knew going into this they were going to have to do a few things a little different.
I mean, there's multiple characters that aren't in this movie from the animated.
Well, because they did the thing they did in Gladiator 2, and we talked about that, is like they took characters that mattered and they split them into 2, which is pretty much the definition of what happened in Gladiator 2. But this one, they also did it. Some characters that were strong characters in the original, they kind of split into half this and then half someone else, and they're picking up the same kind of slack, and it just doesn't make sense to me all the time. So the story is the same. 626, Experiment 626, which is later named Stitch. He is kind of condemned to death, but then he escapes. Then his creator has to go after him, and he has kind of one of the international government cops that goes along with him to make sure he plays by the rules. They land in Hawaii, which I thought that was strange given the fact that Stitch doesn't do well with water. They land on the one island in the middle of this massive ocean.
Yeah.
A little weird.
Better than landing in the ocean, though.
Well, that's what I mean. He would have just been dead. There wouldn't have been a movie at that point.
I mean, I don't understand why he dies. I mean, they just said he becomes more dense. Like, he should still be able to walk out of the water.
Sure, fine. And then, Stitch...
I mean, also, he's not a fucking sponge.
Oh, no, but he is Stitch. He's a 626,
I need more scientific things.
Well, you're not going to get more scientific. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about characters. Let's talk about the...
Stitch, fine.
Nani and Lilo. I have a hard time with kids in movies. I have a hard time when they're playing the character that Lilo is playing. I have a tough time with them because kids infamously don't take direction well.
No.
Because they're kids. And they don't understand the movie said is time is money. things are happening, lots of expensive equipment. There's rigging, gaffing, all kinds of stuff going on. There's camera equipment. They don't quite get that as much as an adult does, and they don't quite get direction, and that's why they got to do 1,000 takes sometimes because you're just not going to get the participation out of them that you want. And this Lilo is she's just a human version of Stitch,
pretty much. Yeah,
I didn't quite get that in the animated version.
So
there was a little bit of a different nuance there for me.
The one thing that I wondered about, because obviously I'd seen this trailer, I knew like that they were taking Lilo like accurately aged probably to the animated movie. Doesn't it make sense to like age her up just a little bit?
I would
make her like 12 or 13.
I would have thought so.
Like it doesn't change the story that much.
Well, no, because Lilo and Stitch is kind of a mature story of family.
Well, it's very much a story of like we're going to take your kid away because you know
get a job and fix these things.
Yeah,
or
CPS is like, hey, bud.
TPS, you know, Child Protective Services.
Yes, Child Protective Services, yes. Or whatever the Hawaiian equivalent of that is.
Sure, but that's my problem with this is if you're going to take this movie and you put it in a real world, then you got to give me real world grounding, and this movie doesn't do any of that. And what makes me so angry about this movie is, like, you know, we talk about a lot of movies where, like, Mission Impossible, for instance, was a movie where, like, they're here and then they're here, but only 24 hours pass. Mm-hmm. That's like a 3-day trip, no matter how you do it.
It's a 29-hour flight.
Exactly. And my point is, like, Lilo is a 6-year-old girl, and sometimes they're just maneuvering around the island. She's 6. Like, I understand, like, maybe I shouldn't be asking those questions in a Lilo and Stitch movie, but if you're going to put this in a real world, I then ask those questions. I don't in the animated because it's animated.
Also, like, they do that cartoony style thing in a live action movie where, like, adults just kind of look the other way while a kid is just sneaking into things.
Yeah, of course. They're just, you see them doing something, and the kid's in the background doing things, and the adult's like, must have just been a draft that blew that door open.
Well, or the other part of it, there's something that annoyed me because I mentioned this a little bit in the second montage of destruction, like when they're stacking up the stemware, like the wine glasses and champagne flutes. Like, no one just watched this kid grab 30 champagne flutes?
Or how did she get them?
Yeah.
How did she carry that large? Because those things are heavy. I can tell you, I worked in a restaurant for a long time.
Okay, imagine carrying an entire tray of fucking champagne flutes.
There's some weight to them because the thing you carry them in, the big plastic blue thing they were in, that's weighty.
Yeah.
To protect them in the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And the fact that she
But those are things we're not supposed to even talk about.
The thing that she found an open table, somehow found a chalkboard drawing and pulled it over and, like, then drew the thing and then says, okay, Stitch, listen up. And does no one look at Stitch as an alien? Am I right to be asking that question?
No, because he sucked his 2 middle arms in.
And his antennas. Yeah. But no one's like, that's not a dog. That's an alien.
Well, I mean, they took him to the animal rescue, and nobody's like, what the fuck is this thing?
Well, but it's funny, because when they first find him, the guys that carry him back, when they set the cage down, say, I don't know what kind of dog has 6 legs. The movie acknowledges it. Yeah. He's weird, and it just... I understand this is aimed at kids. I get that. But again, if you have a live-action remake, don't count the adults in your theater as idiots, because we're not all idiots. That's the thing. That's
he ruined somebody's very expensive wedding.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And look,
that cake cost $10,000.
I mean, I appreciate that. Stitch is just chaos incarnate. That's what Stitch is. Or Experiment 626.
Here's the thing, though. How the fuck do you know what cake is?
Do
they have interplanetary cake? Maybe they do. I don't know.
The aliens speak very good vernacular English for, like, not ever being on the planet, too. I have a lot of questions. Again, it's stuff that maybe I shouldn't be asking questions to, but for example, in the supposed to be funny sequence, when they put scarves on their head and they disguise themselves, and then they grab the arms of the 2 hotel bellhops and they become them, Billy Magnuson and Zach Galifianakis. Then they are struggling walking. But in the beginning, when there are aliens on their own spaceship, they are walking with 2 legs. What's the problem here? What's the hardship? You know, I don't. It's funny just to be funny.
What happened to the other guys? Like, did they take their soul? I don't think you don't know. You don't know.
Another question of, okay, let's say they didn't take their soul, but no one's like,
now there are 2 of the same person.
But you're here and you're there.
Didn't you just check out? Now you're checking back in. Also, I love it. There's like, we need a room, and the guy's like, the lady's just like, okay, didn't ask him for payment. Yeah, yeah. Hey, have you ever checked into a hotel?
They wanted a credit card first and foremost
Well,
up front.
ID
Of
and a
course.
credit card.
Before anything else. They want
Yeah.
to make sure you have those two things
Yeah.
before they get deep in the conversation.
Hmm.
And I understand that. It's just, I feel bad for asking those questions, but again, this is a live action remake where physics in the world matter because you're putting this in real world Hawaii. So I need things to make sense that way. And
I mean, we also get a lot of physics things, like we get some people getting sucked out of airplanes or spaceships.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just falling directly into the ocean. Like, that was a long way down.
And
Like, that man should be dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, the alien, who knows about the alien? But yeah, I totally understand that stuff. I'm less, because he's an alien, like, I get it, but
Okay, let me bring up a scene that I hated in this movie.
please do.
Okay, when you have the other shitty little kids, like they're picking on Lilo or whatever, and he takes hot wires for little Power Wheels thing,
Wheels, yeah.
and then just goes tearing ass down the road. Dude, I hated that scene.
Why?
Because it looks so bad.
Well, it's dumb. It's stupid.
And it doesn't bring anything to the. And for them to have a callback on it like an hour later when he's like
giving it back
and it falls apart. Like, why?
Making amends.
Who cares?
Well, I mean, it had the Too Fast license plate,
Yeah.
and I imagine it's got something to do, but it just doesn't. Well, that sequence is what I'm talking about, because they go up to the top of the ridge and they look down. They see a beach. In the very next scene, they're playing on the beach. She's been changed, which means she would have had to navigate as a 6-year-old in a Hot Wheels car down off the mountain, gone to God.
Wasn't
get
he
her
driving?
Stuff. Was that? Oh,
he was driving.
The dog was driving.
Yes.
Sure. Again, no one says anything when when the dog drives away, or when in the hospital when he picks up the phone, and the doctor's not like, "Your dog's using a phone." Does no one else find this odd? I need those things to be pointed out to me, or don't put them in the movie. That's why I don't. Am I the wrong one here? Let me ask you.
No,
am I the a-hole?
You're not, but this is very much an example of a movie that is not made for us. And I struggle to say even really that this is a family movie, because a lot of times you get a movie that's made to cover a bunch of ages of people.
Sure.
Like, this to me is strictly a kids movie. Like
100%. There's no consequences for anything.
Well, there are some real world things going on, like we're gonna take your
the child protective services.
Yeah, but it's like, even then, when you think, like, spoiler if you watch the movie, when you think he might die, there's never really any stakes here. No. Like, that's it.
Well, the fact is, she would have been taken long before the deadline that they give Nani to get her shit together. Lilo would have been taken when those parents died. Lilo would have just been, the state would have intervened, and that would have been it. And also, the parents died. How? Like, do we have any background on that at all?
I assume that they're Hawaiian, that they must have fallen into a volcano.
I mean, fair. Like, Chris is, I imagine, falling into a volcano right now too, but he'll be back next week, unburned and ready for you all. However,
you can't make that guarantee. One, that he'll return unburnt.
It is the likely scenario that Chris will be back in this
more than likely, but not 100%.
Let's just start then from the beginning. We have what is a broken family because of tragedy, and that's a big.
Yeah, no, the parents died. It's terrible, but again, we don't find out why.
But something I thought the movie would have addressed, being live action and consequences in the real world. I mean,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How old's Nani?
Isn't she? Well, I imagine she's a high school senior, because she's got the brochure to go to college.
She's working at a bar.
You have to be 18 to do that.
You have to be 21 to do that.
No. At Olive Garden, I could work. I worked behind the bar. I just couldn't serve. Or no,
alcohol.
You could be 18, and you just can't. Oh, that's a good point, actually.
So, well, here, but I assume
but servers can be 18 because they can serve the alcohol. They just can't drink it. Not that you drink it at work anyway.
They can't pour the drinks.
No, but they can. Okay, I don't know how this works.
Well,
fine.
Well, I think about things like that.
Sure.
And I assume that means she has to be 21, right? Let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that she's 21, or hell, even 18. Okay. If she's 18, she's working multiple jobs. But hey, commendable, right? Trying to take care of your sister. And her plan is eventually to get into college, right? Like, that's to be a marine biologist, which is a deeply advanced thing to get into.
The Marines.
Yeah.
That was kind of a funny.
Yes.
That was funny. But anyway, go
Yes.
on.
But it's like this kid is set up to fail. You know,
That's the point.
is it summertime there? Do we know?
I don't.
Lilo ain't going to school.
Good question. None of her friends are going to school either.
No.
So I imagine it is. And one of those things that the movie never addressed. That we don't know anything about the timeline. We know nothing about anything.
Right.
We don't know what calendar month. We don't even know what year it is.
Nope. No fucking idea.
We're assuming it's 2025 because that's the year we're in.
Yeah.
But we have no idea to know otherwise. We have some vehicles that could pinpoint it within 10 or 15 probably, but that's it.
I mean, I assume it's supposed to be now. Everybody's got a smartphone, so it's modern enough.
But again, it's like, I guess my problem comes in with if you don't address those things that adults need to have questions to, because like the bar thing, like that stumped me, but like you're right, that does put her a little older, because I think you do have to be 21 to work behind the bar.
Yeah.
But servers can be 18 to serve the drinks on the tables. They just can't.
So what a significant age gap between children too.
Yeah, we never go over that, and I mean, I think there are a lot of questions here that we are not supposed to ask, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't get asked. I mean, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't ask them.
Sure.
So that's what I think.
But again, no, I think this is why this movie's not made for us.
But we're the audience that, like, we are the peak audience for the people who would have seen it when we were younger in the theater.
Sure.
Too. So,
but we're not the peak audience now.
No, but wouldn't you have thought they would have kept that in mind when making this?
Not necessarily.
That's weird.
I mean, I think you're supposed to just be hooked on it's a Lilo and Stitch nostalgia binge. You know what I mean? Because, like, look, it very much is a Lilo and Stitch nostalgia binge. The story is just still not great. And it really puts in perspective that the story of the first one probably isn't that good. And it just gets...
Oh, it's tighter. That's the thing.
But the other thing is you don't think as much about it either. Because it's...
Well, you allow it passes because it's animated.
You give a cartoon privileges.
I would say animated.
Well, but you understand my point.
Sure.
You allow animated movies animated privileges. Buddy, this ain't animated anymore. This is live action. You don't get the let's just wash that and be like, you don't think about that.
I would agree with you. I would 100% agree with you on that.
That's a problem with these type of movies when you try to make something that is like Aladdin is a good example of it, because in Aladdin we deal with magic. Okay, just give them out. In this one we deal with alien technology. Similar enough, right?
Yeah.
On how stuff you have to translate on screen. Like, you can't just be like, oh, hey, look at that guy running around with a big giant gun. No one looks at him and goes, what the fuck is that big giant gun you're carrying, sir?
Yeah, exactly. And why are there two of you?
Yeah.
Why is your twin over there and you're right? Like, no one asks.
Weird.
Again, it's just odd. It does the thing where, and I just watched some romantic comedies this week too, because I love rom-coms, is you put characters in situations, for example, when they're having awkward conversations at a bar, then the advantage you have of you just cut away and then, okay, so they just went on with their night, and then now we're here, is you cut away and you don't have to explain the devastation that just happened and the awkwardness. This movie has a lot of that. It's just, you cut away and don't explain any of it. Like the wedding. No one at the wedding is like, call the FBI, call the police, call the army. There was an alien running around this place eating cake.
Yeah.
Like, no, you know what I mean? It's like...
Well, the one thing that I brought up to you before the show, too, is so Stitch's voice is the same guy, does the
Sanders,
voice, which is an iconic voice.
Hi.
But there was times in this movie where I struggled to understand what he was saying.
I didn't struggle to understand all of it.
But not all of it, but there were some times where, like, I know you said, like, kids would laugh, and I was just like, what the fuck did he say?
What did he say? I don't understand it. I would have preferred if the only thing that we intelligibly ever understood was the hi, because that comes from the animated. That's straight from the... Yeah, exactly. And then I was expecting the scene to tell us what he's saying. If he's saying some weird gobbledygook and he says something, I expected to know what it was because of what was happening in the scene, and he understood it. For example, when he was surfing, when Nani was, we had the montage of the surfing, and they were, and she was becoming a surf teacher, and we were out with them surfing. Is when he puts his arms up, I expect him to say, like, I'm king of the world. Like, I expected that level of, like, I don't know exactly what he's saying, but like I know what he's saying.
You got an idea of what he's trying to say, yeah.
But like some of it was very like, okay, he said very specific words in a pattern. I know what that is. And other of it was exactly. And I don't you got to make a choice one way or the other. It
Yeah.
can't be a mixture of those. That's just me though. Maybe they saw it differently.
No, I mean that's just something that, and it's not a problem that I expected to have, and it just annoyed me a little bit because I'm like, what the fuck did he say?
I would have thought they would have adapted it some way or another, and it would have been a different kind of story.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't, and I have a problem with that too, because you can't. It's like having two different stories. You can't do. You have to commit to one or the other.
Do you think she got the surfing teacher job after her sister almost drowned on her training run?
No, well, probably not. But because again, money never matters in this movie unless it does. But
Well,
there's no amount that matters.
where's the lifeguard?
Exactly. Oh, okay, another fair adult question that no one's asking.
Buddy,
Where's the lifeguard?
Fucking Baywatch. I've seen it.
I have seen that recently many times. All the abs. Yes. I would agree. But that's the least of this movie's worries. It's other problems with. I get the fact that Lilo is kind of out of control. A kid.
Yep.
Stitch is pure chaos incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
He's just rampaging through. But again, it's like in the animated 2002, it works that Stitch is never a threat to Lilo. However, in this one,
he's a threat to everybody.
That should be in play at all times because he is a dangerous animal alien that is hostile towards anything he wants to be hostile towards.
Yep.
And for some reason, he's not towards. But we never get the explanation of why he's not. We just know he's just not. Because if you ask someone who watched this movie and ask them to dissect that character dichotomy a little bit, it's like, oh, but he's nice to her. Why? Oh, I don't know. It's like one of the you won't get the answer because there is no answer. You know what I mean? Like that's a problem though because that's a basic character description that they failed to give me, and that's my problem with that with Stitch. Is like, so the two best things of this movie to me, obviously Stitch.
Sure,
Stitch had to be good.
He looks good too. It looks good on the screen. Like it,
and the only sequence that had any weight to me, the best sequence in the film, if you ask me, I mean, ask me from a film analytic point of view, would be the sequence just after they get done, her and her sister on the deck playing the guitar. It's a nice little moment for sisters, and then the music expands into the next scene where the social services come and they come to take her, and they stand outside the door while she walks up the stairs. But the shot is her walking up what is like 2 or 3 stairs, but it's making it look, because the journey to her is
long,
is a big deal because of she's basically handing over her sister to the state.
Yep.
That was one of the best sequences, and it only that's the emotional crux of the film is that sequence, and it comes and goes like that, and it's never referenced again, and it's gone, and it's again in a very Disney hand wave of an explanation. The movie is able to play out the way that it does with no real consequences. That's my thing. Is things have consequences in movies, especially in live action remakes.
I have real
there are
consequences for you. Who's paying that fucking ER trip visit? Who's paying for that?
But they address it, but they don't address it. The state.
You think their house was covered by homeowners insurance? It got just absolutely wrecked by an alien.
It's obliterated now.
But yeah, but I mean, think about that.
But I mean, we all know State Farm be like, your doesn't cover aliens.
Imagine some random insurance adjuster on the island come out there and like he's used to like tidal erosion, lava damage. Like, what the fuck happened here? There's like a dead alien carcass.
Everywhere.
Yeah, just bullet holes.
Yeah, well, I mean,
is this a fucking portal?
But again, we don't talk about it because this.
What the fuck is this?
That poor guy that keeps losing his whatever. Like that was kind of clever because they kept using the same guy losing the same tasty treat he was about to consume. Yes,
are snow cones a tasty treat as an adult though?
No, they're not at all.
They're really not. Like they're
strictly
made for children.
But even then, that's just flavored
sugar ice. Yeah,
that's all it is. But I mean, maybe the Hawaiian version of that is different, but
I doubt it.
I just didn't feel like there was. I didn't feel like there was love and care behind this movie. I didn't feel like they cared about it. I felt like they made this because they knew there was.
They felt like they had
potential.
to. Yeah,
and that's
what bothers me. It is making money though.
However, there is other. I mean, I understand why Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. I mean, and Little Mermaid. If you're gonna do any of them, you got to do those
Horsemen,
4.
baby. Yeah, that's it.
You got to be those. But like after that, you can be very picky and choosy for whatever reason you want to do. It's not like they're like, oh no, we had to remake Lilo and Stitch. It made $4 billion in its original run. It didn't. So it's also got an alien in it. So maybe don't stick to that one. But I mean, there's so many of those Disney movies from Sword in the Stone, those early ones, to now, as we just saw with Snow White, they don't adapt well either.
No, they don't play. And
So it's hard, especially with like the Fox and the Hound and Robin Hood. It's like that's all animal stuff.
yep.
So again, it's tough.
Well, it's talk about things that are on their list. Obviously, Moana's next, which I can actually see that being slightly easier to adapt to live action. I don't really have a problem with that part of it. But like the thing after that is the Aristocats.
That's a weird choice to me because those are
Like,
cats.
yeah, cats that go on like an adventure wearing like clothes, and it's just
like having mustaches and
yes,
monocles.
like what the fuck?
Well, they're obviously going to have to take some liberties there, but I don't mind the liberties being taken.
Just don't make the movie.
Well, somehow that's on a list of like, yes, that's the next one, but why?
The one
Lilo
after
and
that is
Stitch?
Hercules, right?
Hercules, I can see because there are some personified people.
That's
but,
Guy Ritchie's Hercules, by the way.
Well, okay. Well, Guy Ritchie's sword or King Arthur was a mistake.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie's Wrath of Man is not a mistake.
No, it's an awesome movie. Mass death and killing and
hey, listen,
boy
you think
sweat.
it'd be a lot of that in?
No, I don't. I'm positive.
Jason Statham stars his
In a
live
Disney-ish
action Hercules.
Bloodbath.
Just fucking murdering gods.
Bloodbath. Yeah, with his yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll wrap it up here in a few minutes, but I guess I'm just disappointed that they don't treat it. There's no weight behind this script, outside of like the stuff you had to put in and was barely included, like family is what you make
family,
it.
yeah.
We never give up on each other. We never leave anyone behind. But that's only by default that it's even in there to begin with.
Yeah, it didn't have to be. I mean, it had to be. So like, you can't leave that stuff out. But it's the other stuff that they put in here that I don't think makes this movie any better. They just put in more what is fluff for an animated movie, that it just doesn't translate that well to live action. Which, I mean, I give them credit for trying, because like this movie's okay, and we talked a lot of negative stuff
It
about
just
it.
got two thumbs down from us,
but I mean, does that really? It's not bad, and it's just like, for somebody like me, it just doesn't work. Is this better than the last live action movie we saw them for Snow White? Of course it is.
Oh, it's miles ahead of Snow White.
But again, why are we making these type of movies? Like, we just don't need to see that stuff. It doesn't matter. We don't need this.
I would say you're right about that. We don't. I mean, it should be an event.
Here's the thing. We do say that though, but then it goes and it's $370 million already after 2 weeks.
It's done very well for itself. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's even if it's $100 million, it's tripled its budget, so it's way in the green. It's just, I just don't know what its end game is for a movie like this. How much money you expect to make from it, from the financial side. I know like a lot of people don't care about that kind of stuff, but that matters overall for movies in general.
It does. Well, I
because like Snow White's a massive flop. Like they lost like $300 million on that.
Well, for something like Moana,
plus probably.
Give me a second. Something like Moana and something like Lilo and Stitch, both take place in Hawaii. So I imagine
Samoa and I, yeah.
So I imagine if you're going to do one, if you're going to have presence over there as Disney for one, buy studio space, have a production office, you might as well just do both of the Hawaiian ones.
Disney has that giant resort area on that one island. So they probably have a bunch of. I bet you they have a small studio there.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure they do, but it makes sense if you're going to have the same. I would imagine if you look at the crew list,
you don't have to pay a lot on location when you own the resort. That's already there.
But I imagine the crew lists are very similar because they probably just rolled one crew right in the other, or at least those who wanted to. I imagine if you're going to do one, why not just do the other?
The local teams here, yeah.
Yeah, of course. So that much makes sense to me. And I get Moana because Moana is just printing money right now, and it's very popular. Yeah. And you have The Rock. So, that's a built-in...
What used to be considered the world's most bankable star?
Not so much anymore.
Well, I mean, his shine's kind of,
he's the same character, and he is Dwayne Johnson in every movie he plays now, which is... Yeah. It is a problem for him, but it's more of a problem for him than anyone else. Although, I'm sure he's not hurting for money in any way.
No, you don't think so?
No. Oh, man. I guess my final thoughts on this are I'm disappointed. I wanted... But then again, I don't know really what I wanted.
Well, yeah. It's
like, what?
Yeah, deep down, like, what were your expectations going into this movie? Because, like, I didn't really have any. Like, not really at all. And then we get a movie that is okay at best. I didn't really dig it. My sister, who is, like I said, one of the biggest Stitch people I know, doesn't like this movie. And
that's damning.
It's, yeah. like, what are you trying to prove? Are you trying to get a whole new group of kids to fall in love with Stitch? I mean, because Stitch is easy. It's the rest of the movie that's bad.
And the stuff that suffered, like that's
Yeah.
but Stitch, I will admit that they got Stitch right, which we know from Sonic matters.
It does matter.
So like
Hell
maybe
yeah, it
before
matters.
Sonic, we wouldn't have thought so much it mattered because we hadn't seen an example of public outcry making some horrendous beast be turned
Bullying
to something.
works.
Yeah, never forget
That's
bullying.
it.
Bullying worked in the '80s, works now.
That's it. One
Yeah.
consistent thing throughout history, baby.
So Stitch works. I mean, I think Lilo works as a functional. She works in the world that they set up for her to operate in, which is a world of no consequences, can teleport anywhere you want,
Mhm.
and money doesn't. Like, what did she eat? What did that girl ever eat?
I mean, I assume that she just stole food like a,
Like
a street
Aladdin?
urchin. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's just nothing's explained. Not that you ever have to. It's just when you start showing cracks, more cracks start to show because,
Yep.
of course, then you start asking those other questions. I wonder just if this was a pure, if we invest 100 million, will we get at least 700 back? I wonder if that's the equation. That like, okay, yes, well then make the movie.
Well, yeah, because I mean, for a $600 million profit, you'd find a lot of studios will never say no to that.
Well, no, but some of them that's not big enough as a profit margin. That's insane to me. But,
Oh yeah, but
I would imagine Disney sees this as a success, but in what way outside of monetary, I couldn't tell you because I imagine that some people are still fighting hard to say Snow White was a success, and I just
I don't think anybody's saying that.
well they did re-release it like several weeks ago again.
Who gives a shit?
That's when they tried to make it something, but final thoughts then, Roger.
It's not great, and I don't know why they made it. And I have this conversation repeatedly every time we talk about a live action movie. And like I said, if How to Train Your Dragon is not great, it's still Disney's fucking fault. So,
Yeah.
check this space out in about 2 weeks and see how I feel about that.
Oh my goodness gracious. I can't even sleep sometimes thinking about that movie.
I can't sleep because I'm an old man.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But the thing with Lilo and Stitch, I think, is part of the most damning is they tried to make a movie accessible for everyone. However, when you make a movie for everyone, you make it for no one. If there's no targeted audience, that means there's no targeted writing, there's no targeted lines you need to put in, there's no characters that need to act a certain way. So that's just kind of because I've always said that with video games too. If you make a game for everyone, then you've made it for no one because you can't appeal to everyone. So why try? If you're making a rated R movie, a rated R slasher, you make it for people who like rated R slashers.
Yep.
You don't try to make the mass appeal for everyone to sit down and watch as a family unit together. And that's what I feel happened to Lilo and Stitch is they made it so anyone can watch it, but in doing that, they made it unenjoyable for adults.
Yeah, they tried to make it for everybody and then missed out on the thing, and the whole movie suffers because of it. So
I guess
it happens. We've seen movies fail before, and the thing is this movie's not a failure. It's just
not commercially anyway.
No, that's that's the one thing that probably matters. So, and it's not like with Lilo and Stitch, like there's not a whole string of Lilo and Stitch movies that they'll try to remake. Like Lilo and Stitch is a one and done. Like there has never been a sequel or anything like that for that.
Well, I can see them trying one now because it's so successful. But again, even if they allocate 120 million this time for a budget and they make 600 million,
you gotta have a better story.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They won't be. I mean, we saw that with Game of Thrones. Once they go off story, it suffers. So if there's no story to adhere to, I wonder what they'll do.
Had a long conversation with some really good friends yesterday about why most TV shows don't end good or end well. Like they're never the strongest on their way out. Like with a couple of notable exceptions, like Breaking Bad and those kind of things.
Mad Men,
yeah. It's because money, and it's always because of money. Because most shows should come to a logical conclusion. People are like, we can get more money out of this. Let's do another season. That's almost always the fucking problem. So,
well, I mean, what Ted Lasso showed us, you don't always have to. I mean, just 3 and done. That's
what also coming back. So,
but it's a whole different thing. Like it's a whole different written thing. They're not continuing. It's a different thing.
Is it? I don't.
For Ted Lasso's sake, I hope so.
Yeah,
because that show is incredible, and if 2 bad seasons, that can turn people's sour taste on a show.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Anyway, Roger, thank you for joining me for episode 32 of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. If you listen to this episode on audio-only service, please feel free to head over to YouTube. Check us out there. You can see Roger's majestic beard,
It is majestic.
as I'm looking at now.
It is.
Do you put like beard oil in it and
No.
stuff? Well, they sell it. I don't know if you. I don't know.
I do.
It's something I'll never use. A
No,
product I will
it's-
never use.
Yes, I do know they sell it. No, I don't use it.
Fair. Check us out there.
Check out my sweet fucking ponytail.
You can always turn us on the background while you're doing something if you want to laugh or listen to a movie analysis or what we
Yes.
consider to be.
The
Turn us on
most
the background.
analytical of podcasts. This one.
We try to stay away from the analysis space. We just kind of talk about where the movie sits when it comes out and just our thoughts on it.
Basically, whether we like it or not is
Yeah.
what we talk about, and then we ramble about other shit.
Like
which
Happy
happens all
Gilmore
the time.
too.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I want to talk about that. So
All right. Thank you for joining us. No matter how you choose to consume us, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next week for what's next week?
I don't know. I think we're talking about Ballerina, probably.
Ballerina,
right?
from the world of John Wick.
Maybe some John Wick stuff. Completely different kind of conversation than what we're having
Yes.
right now about fucking Lilo and Stitch.
Indeed, but you can also check us out on Apple Podcasts.
Probably
Podbean.
more murder talk next week.
I would imagine the likelihood of that is pretty high, and less Stitch. Although Stitch does kind of murder things. So.
I mean, some of those people had to have been hurt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.